South Africa has more people living with HIV than any other country on Earth. To understand how the epidemic got to this point, we sat down with Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, who has been working on HIV/AIDS since the outbreak began.
The early history of South Africa and HIV/AIDS is really tragic. You had a president and a health minister who didn't fully believe that HIV caused AIDS. There were a few 100,000 people who likely died because they didn't have drugs due to this extraordinary, bizarre perception that the virus doesn't cause AIDS. So happily now we have a much, much different situation in Africa. We have drugs available. However, South Africa still is a country that has a very, very large number of HIV-infected individuals. So they need to also do a much better job, but now they have the tools and they have the intent to do it.
When was she admitted exactly?
About last week.
Last week?
Yeah.
And you started taking the treatment, and how do you feel on the treatment? You feel better? You feel that the power is coming back in your body a bit? Okay, and you're smiling again, so that's good.
Dr. HUGO Tempelman runs a rural clinic here in South Africa and has been fighting HIV on the ground for more than 20 years.
To die of AIDS is not necessary anymore today. When we started, we had to admit that there were about 1,900 new HIV infections per day. A day we speak about. But still today we face at around about 850 to 9 new people turn HIV positive.
And how many patients does the clinic serve today?
At the moment, I think we cater for a community of about 120,000 people, of which about 7,000 to 8,000 are on lifelong antiretrovirals. You should start treating a patient when he is first found HIV positive, because if you put him immediately on treatment, you suppress the viral load in his body and you also stop the spreading of HIV.
When you put a person on antiretroviral therapy, you're not curing them, but you're putting them into what's called virological remission. As long as they keep taking their antiretroviral drugs, they're doing fine.
Natuli, one of the patients here, was born with HIV. She's been on a strict medication regimen her whole life.
Tulisila's most recent CD4 count is 1,204. That's a very good number. It tells us that her immune system is functional very well and is strong. And the viral load is lower than detectable.
Which is also fantastic.
Which is also fantastic. It tells us that the ARVs are fighting with the viral. I can say that the quality of her life is no different from somebody who's negative.
Who's negative?
Yes. Okay. Ithathu uzobeka lapha emaphilisini bese kuya esikolweni angisho? Okay.
Every AIDS patient is a system failure. He should have been found earlier, managed earlier, and put on treatment earlier. What has happened in that decade is immense. The political will changed, and I think that we have a tremendous response, a tremendous effort, but we still need to scale up to provide access to everybody, and there we are not yet. And as long as we suffer 2 to 3 AIDS deaths in the waiting room every week, I can't stop fighting.
He was diagnosed of HIV about 3 years ago and was put on treatment. Then from there, he defaulted a treatment.
And why did he default on the ARVs?
There was not much counseling about adherence to treatment. So he said he felt better and he stopped taking treatment.
At the institution where he was started, he wasn't counseled properly and he didn't understand it properly. So he thought, like if you have a pneumonia and you take your antibiotics for 2 weeks and you feel fine, you can stop the medication. Not understanding that if you take the plug of medication out, that replication of the virus will start again. But you understand now that for the rest of your life, every day you must take your pills.
Getting people to understand the medication and to trust it is a key battle in controlling HIV here.
When you stop the antiretroviral drug, invariably in almost everyone, the virus bounces back from the reservoir.
We met Herbert, another patient at NDLOVU.
I didn't understand clearly about issues of side effects, so I just thought it's the treatment that is making me worse. And I had to stop it and try something else, like going to traditional healers with the hope that maybe there might be something different from there. At the end of the day, when they see that the things of traditional healers are not helping, then they brought me back here.
How bad were things at that point when you came back here?
Very bad, very bad. I remember one point where I told my mom, we were far away from home. I told her that, can we please go back home so I can die peacefully at home? Because I could see that I've reached at that point.
So you came here, and the second time around, you adhered to the regimen.
Yeah.
And you were disciplined about taking the medicines.
Yeah.
And look at you now.
Yeah, things just happened, and it went on like that, and I recovered. I even confronted Dr. Templeman and asked him if I can make a difference in the community through the experiences that I had.
The clinic organizes these events where they bring a van where they test people and they give away product and they educate the community. It's representative of how the society is not denying the HIV issue anymore and represents a change that's come. And it's a rad dance party.
Herbert now works as a community liaison officer for NDLOVU.
So, o ka nhlalosetsa hanyane maybe se wena o hlalohanyang ka HIV hanyane fe se le rwa se itse ka HIV.
Nna ke tla go tshwana le bolwetse bo bongwe go tshwana le flu. Ge ile re e ngobaditse thata ke tja dipilisi.
So motivator ke eng hore o fela o etsa di test?
Ra se le ka ke re batho and nako nngwe go kry le ke lebala go use protection.
Okay.
Mara ke roba le motho mongwe.
Oh. So but motho wa gago o yena wa test? Ha test.
Ga tetsweng be le tshaba bang clinic.
What if yena hona le dilo tse ding tse a di dirang out there, maybe abe infected, wa bona hore le wena o tla tla o fetetsa ka virus? Then o e tlo ba jwang a setse le jwang?
Tlo ba tatabeng ya go ntshwenya thata.
In South Africa, rates of HIV infection in young women are alarming. Nearly 1 in 10 women between 15 and 24 years old is HIV positive.
Ready for the results?
Yeah, we cannot like already.
Okay, test the important the results are negative, so you put on.
Okay.
With over 300,000 new infections per year in South Africa alone, doctors are searching for new prevention methods to truly halt the spread of this virus.
We really should shift that point from curative to prevention. And we can prevent HIV positives from spreading. And we can put them early on treatment. Then you start to get a grip on that epidemic. If we can't close the tap of new infections, we will never be able to control the HIV epidemic. And this ring is going to give us a lot of contribution.
NDLOVU is helping to test the effectiveness of a vaginal ring in preventing HIV transmission by releasing antiretrovirals inside the body. We met one of the trial participants.
What we do, we twist it into a little aid to have it easy fitting through the opening of the vagina. You put it into the vagina, and what you immediately see is that the ring fills itself on the wall of the vagina where it sits around the mouth of the womb. It works locally, and that coating of the wall and that antiretroviral prevents the transmission from HIV from the man to the woman. How are things going? Is the ring giving you any problems or not?
No, it doesn't give me a problem.
Do you sometimes take it out?
No.
Never?
No, I didn't take it out.
I'm very happy with that, because you know the ring will only work if you always wear it.
Okay.
Does your partner know you are participating in the study?
Yes, he knows about it.
So in fact, you're happy, and we continue.
If this ring gets approved and it's available everywhere, how much of a difference can it make?
Tlo fokotsa palo ya batho ba ba tshwarang ke HIV ka mo country ya rena. Like palo ya bona e tlo ya ko tlase ka se ke tla e ya ko godimo because ba bantshi ba basadi tla ba berekisa ring ya go prevent HIV.
This is not made for profit. It's made for access and availability. So immediately when it is registered through all the regulatory bodies, it will come on the market at an affordable price with the intention to prevent the transmission from HIV.
It's amazing. It's so innovative.
Yeah,
It's a
it is.
genius.
Yeah, we can give them a choice to prevent of attracting HIV.
If the ring proves effective, it can make a huge difference for women living in high-risk areas around the world.
HIV is not the problem of a positive patient. HIV is a societal problem. It's not the responsibility alone of the Department of Health. It's everybody's responsibility. If 20% is infected, the other 80% are also affected. But we're on the good road.
The very scientific facts tell us that you can actually end the epidemic. And that's why scientists and public health officials like myself are so passionate about this, because we know it can be done.